Hello everyone, my name is Art Russell. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to share some information about the nature of faith and reality, with the hopes that it will help you manifest more of what you desire and less of what you don't. This video is not about attempting to convert anyone to a specific spiritual tradition. It's about sharing some information that I hope will be useful. So let's begin. I'd like to start with a quote about faith, which is attributed to Abraham Lincoln, who was the 16th President of the United States. Here it is. To believe in the things you can see and touch is no belief at all, but to believe in the unseen is a triumph and a blessing. The next quote comes from Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And the next comes from Mark chapter 9, verse 23. Jesus said to him, "If you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes." Now again, there's a gender bias in that verse, but I'd like everyone to know that my channel has no gender bias. This applies to both men and women, male and female. Now, to open your mind to greater possibilities, it's important to have a clear understanding of the nature of this waking state reality that we commonly refer to as daily life. It's not what it appears. And as long as we believe that it is, we're actually behind the 8 ball as far as manifesting change in our apparent reality. The easiest way to understand this is through the use of the dream state analogy. During a dream, we assume the role of a character within that dream. And while the dream is ongoing, everything seems as real can be. There are people, there are events, there are buildings and other objects. There are circumstances that seem 100% real. But when we merge once again with waking state reality, an assumption takes place. From the perspective of the person, we assume we're back in base reality. And that's not the case. Base reality is consciousness in which the apparent persons, including ourselves, appear. Consciousness is the true, non-dual reality. During the dream state dream, all of the objects and persons and events took place in consciousness. We need to bring that understanding to the waking state reality. This way, having our faith in consciousness itself, some would refer to that as God, allows us to truly believe that miraculous change can be and is possible. Next, I'd like to offer a quotation from The Master Key System by Charles F. Hannell. This is considered a major book in the New Thought movement. It was published in 1916 in book form. Here's the quote, which relates to what I'm sharing about this being a mental experience. You are viewing me, whenever you are, in awareness. I am apparently viewing this laptop camera and the filming of this video in awareness or consciousness. Here's the quote. It is the few who know that the things which they see are only effects and understand the causes by which these effects were brought into existence. How were they brought into existence? Through the power of infinite living mind. The next quote comes from a book entitled Creative Mind by Ernest Holmes. He was the founder of the Church of Religious Science and a major leader in the New Thought movement. Here's the quote. We must, if we wish to prove the power of the Spirit in our lives, look not to outside things or effects, but to the Word alone. The human eye sees and the human hand touches only that which is an effect. Now, as we can see, Ernest Holmes and Charles F. Hannell were saying the same thing. That what we're in right now, apparently in, is an effect of the mind, and that consciousness is primary, fundamental cause. I'd next like to offer two quotes from this book, the Neville Goddard collection. I've mentioned this before, that Neville Goddard was a Barbadian mystic who moved to the U.S., where he lectured about the nature of consciousness and deliberate manifestation. The first quote is taken from his book entitled At Your Command. Now, this short quote is very important for understanding how faith can bring about such tremendous results in our apparent life. Here it is. To see things as real is to deny that all things are possible to God. Now, a couple of words about this, or points about this quote. To see things as real. By that, Neville Goddard was meaning to see apparent objects through the materialistic paradigm or interpretation of reality as though they last on their own, independent of the mind that perceives them. When we look again to the template of the dream state dream, we realize that apparent objects within the dream state dream did not have independent existence. To manifest more effectively, we must know ourselves at a much deeper level and know the nature of this waking state reality. It's made of mind. And that all things are possible to God. God consciousness. During the dream state dream, if your character in the dream, he or she went fishing, was the lake, the boat, the fish, the fishing rods, were they all made of consciousness or not? That same template of understanding applies here. The next quote comes from another of his books entitled "Feeling is the Secret." And this quote refers to how to apply what I'm sharing. Now, I know that you can't just accept this as being true, what I'm sharing. But when you become still, you realize there is an awareness of this deep presence that is you, awareness itself. Here's the quote. Prayer, like sleep, is also an entrance into the subconscious. And then he offers a quote from Matthew chapter 6, verse 6. Here it is. When you pray, enter into your closet, and when you have shut your door, pray to your Father, which is in secret, and your Father, which is in secret, shall reward you openly. Now, in this verse, Father refers to Source or God, the universe. He then goes on, prayer is an illusion of sleep, which diminishes the impression of the outer world and renders the mind more receptive to suggestion from within. The mind in prayer is in a state of relaxation and receptivity akin to the feeling attained just before dropping off to sleep. Now, what Neville Goddard mentions about prayer is very different from the way that we may have been taught to pray. Most of us have been conditioned to believe that we should pray this way to a God or a being, a spiritual being sitting on a cloud somewhere. What Neville Goddard was sharing is that what is impressed into the subconscious, especially in a relaxed, detached manner, will, if it's repeated gently, with a confidence, with a knowing, that the subconscious will render that as our apparent reality, following a certain time frame that's related to the law of gestation. That for every apparent object or thing, there is a timing, but it's not a timing where we have to be considered worthwhile. Like deserving. Oh, I'm good enough to receive this blessing from God, but my neighbor might not be. This is directly related to our belief and knowing how the system of reality works. This is why Goddard also mentioned about if we take waking state reality to be real, we're challenged from the very beginning, because we wonder, well, how can I make these people, or how can I do what I wish, or how can I move this material thing? This also applies to our health. But I'm not suggesting to turn away from any treatment that you believe in. This can all be used together for our greater benefit. I'd also like to add that I'm going to attach another of my cloud bursting videos to the end on a card at the end of this video. I believe that it demonstrates what I'm sharing, that this is indeed a mental universe. Apparent things do not exist independent of the mind that perceives them. We can experience this directly if we just walk ourselves back to a dream state dream. All of those events, the persons, places, circumstances, took place within consciousness. This is the key to greater understanding, and I hope that you'll try this for yourself. To enter into the closet and close the door means to visualize, to gently affirm, still the mind, and plant the seed of your desire within consciousness. Envision already possessing what you desire. If you've enjoyed this video or found it helpful or useful, I invite you to share, subscribe, and like. More information is available through my free articles at thinktwice.me, and also through my book entitled This Taste of Flesh and Bones, available from Amazon. Thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing all of you again soon. Bye for now.